Good morning. This is Dr. Shivani Gupta, and you are here on the Fusionary Health Podcast. Today, I am doing a solo episode. This podcast is based on interviewing incredible practitioners. I have the honor of meeting the most amazing practitioners, Eastern, Western, all the different kinds in between. And so my goal has been to share with you so many of the different perspectives of these different integrative practitioners, what they do, innovative ways we can approach our health, new tools and techniques we can use to approach our health. And every once in a while, you'll get a solo episode from me where I'm going to dive into Ayurveda and the topics from Ayurveda, just to give you that perspective as well. So if you haven't heard of Ayurveda, it's an entire system of medicine from India that's over 5,000 years old. And within Ayurveda, we teach a preventive lifestyle. It's called the science of life. And this preventive lifestyle encompasses diet, detoxification, the 5 elements, how connected we are to the earth, our digestive fire, circadian rhythm. There's so much in there. And Ayurveda is really that original system of medicine. I have the original textbooks in my home, in my office library, and I always look back and I'm like, wow, they knew about surgery. They knew about all the different subspecialties. And it's over 5,000 years old. And so there's so much wisdom there. It's an ancient wisdom. And my goal is to bring it through into modern times, fusing it with modern science, because modern science is what we are using nowadays to prove a lot of things to be true. And that's what we typically believe. We have these Western scientific minds that want something to be proven to be true for us to believe in it. And so according to Ayurveda, those teachings existed. They worked for millennia for people. They still work for people now. If you imagine, India has over 1 billion people in it. And the Ayurvedic lifestyle is somewhat ingrained and built into the Indian lifestyle, the Indian culture. It's part of our culture to use spices every single day in our food. It's part of our culture to do self-care using these tools and techniques. And so I feel very lucky that I was born into a household where these different tools were used and where I was raised eating this Indian healthy, vibrant diet. But I learned growing up here that there was so much more to learn. I remember when I walked into my first Ayurvedic lecture and I was like, why is this not taught in school? Like, we all needed this knowledge. So let me backtrack a minute, and then I'm going to talk to you about vibrant health today. My goal is to show you the 6 pillars of vibrant health from Ayurveda and how we can use them to create optimal health and vibrant health for ourselves. So my story is I grew up in an Indian household in Houston, Texas, and I traveled to India every year. And by the time I hit middle school and high school, every time we went to India, someone would die. And I remember sitting there like, what on earth is going on? Like, what's wrong with my family? What's wrong with these people? I couldn't fathom how that would happen. So at first it was just diagnoses. It was quadruple bypass for my dad's mom. It was a stroke for my grandfather. Like, all these things were adding up. And eventually I'd get there and, you know, my dad's sister's husband died of throat cancer. And I was like, throat cancer, what's that? Or someone else would die of another type of cancer. And I was like, what is that? I don't understand. Then I remember my mom's father, my maternal grandfather, passed away. And it was like advanced stages of diabetes. He had a heart attack and all these things. Then I'll never forget the one that impacted me the most. It was my most pivotal moment on the whole journey. My grandfather on my dad's side, who was a powerhouse. He was like the president of the Rotary Club of New Delhi. And he had birthed these incredible, brilliant kids who were so successful. So had my mom's side. Like, my sister and I were like talking the other day, and we realized how incredibly successful the families we come from were, and how nowadays we work really hard and we get nowhere in the hemisphere of that level of success that they built back in the 80s. But I remember my grandpa, he was like the president of the Rotary Club. He was so well known in the city, known as like a very successful businessman, but someone who gave back to the community. And I got to India. I was probably high school, college, and he was bedridden. There was a nurse bed, like a hospital bed in the middle of his bedroom. He's laying there. There's this pipe up his nose, like a straw. I was like, you guys, there's more modern technology to do that. and his leg was cut off. And I was like, what happened? How did he lose his leg? They were like, oh, he had neuropathy and he was in one of those taxis, you know, the 3-wheel taxis that you have in India? And he didn't realize that the wheel was cutting into his leg. It damaged his leg so badly that when he finally realized it, or the taxi guy realized it, and they rushed him to the hospital, they had to amputate the leg. And I was like, how can you have such neuropathy that you don't know that something's harming you? Like, what is that? And he had already had Parkinson's really badly, and my father had tried to heal it and had wanted healing it. But it had gotten much, much worse. And so I just looked at him and like, I couldn't fathom, like, is this the end game? Is this all of us? Are we all going to live and then end like this? No matter how successful you are, no matter how hardworking you are, no matter how giving you are, no matter how epic of a life you create, you study, you work, you have kids, and then boom, your whole last third or quarter of your life is horrible disease management. I was just like, I don't really understand. I don't think I want to live in this life if this is like what this is. And so my brain really tried to reckon with it, and I couldn't. And I finally said, you know what? There has to be a different way. And I'm going to find it because I don't accept this. This is not going to happen to me. Like, this is not going to be my truth. And so from then on, I went on my journey. And luckily enough, my father was a health nut. He was into vitamins. He was into eating healthy. He was into showing us how to prevent diabetes, since that was what was our huge part of our family history. He showed us that sugar, stress, and inflammation are the root causes of diabetes and disease. He would make green juice and celery juice and take it to his friends' houses when they were sick with bags of vitamins, which is kind of what I do now. It's funny that that's how I grew up. He showed me that you can reverse horrible chronic diseases if you really put your mind to it and, you know, cut those calories and exercise and change your diet and alkalize and really support the body into a healing state. Anything's possible. And so I ended up going to business school, studying Ayurveda because I needed to for my own health and immune system and path, doing my master's in Ayurvedic sciences, and the PhD was in turmeric. And over that time period, I ended up creating a turmeric supplement because my goal after my PhD was I need to take turmeric in a potent form that's so effective that I can guarantee to myself that I can reduce my inflammation and win at this horrible family history. Because I went to the store and I couldn't figure out whose turmeric to trust. And I was like, well, this is not good if we can't find a turmeric that's so effective at inflammation that we know that we're really supporting our health from the ground up. And so I ended up creating my turmeric supplement company. It's called Fusionary Formulas, and it's existed for 7 years. So it's supported tens of thousands of people. And I built it for orthopedics. I wanted to choose the hardest door I could find, of course, because I'm stubborn and headstrong. And when I built Fusionary, my theory, my hypothesis was, can you build a turmeric that's so potent that when you come into an orthopedics office in pain, he can give you this instead of other NSAIDs for your pain and inflammation? That was like my little research hypothesis coming out of my PhD dissertation. And I was able to prove it to be true. I have hundreds of doctors who recommend Fusionary to their patients. They give it to them for pain, for inflammation, for joint pain, for all sorts of issues. And they know that it's preventive. They know that it's supportive. And doctors know so well what their patients need. And I have so many integrative practitioners. So now instead of just orthopedics, it's orthopedics, functional medicine, chiropractic, primary care, you name it, all sorts of DPC doctors, and many of whom you'll hear on Fusionary's podcast, because my goal was to highlight how amazing these practitioners were. In the journey of sharing Fusionary with them, I got to know them and how amazing they are and how they are that treasure chest that we all need to have vibrant health every single day. And so once I had Fusionary for about 5 years, we hit 2020, and all of a sudden the world kind of turned upside down. And I took a minute from Fusionary because I had to raise my kids and homeschool and whatever else happened. And I realized Fusionary is needed now more than ever. Inflammation, our immune system, the support we need it more than ever. And then I also realized and caught that sometimes people were taking my pill for a problem. We're so programmed as society that when we have a problem, we just take a pill. When you have a headache, you just take, acetaminophen or ibuprofen. When you have a fever, you just take a pill. When you have X, you just take a pill. Oh, you have a stomach problem? Just take a Tums. Heartburn, take a Tums, whatever it is. And I don't live like that. I live where, oh, I feel sniffly. Okay, I'm going to up my D's vitamins. Oh, I have a stomach upset. I'm just going to make a quick tea and I'll fix that in 10 minutes. And so I got a little irritated in 2020. I was like, everyone's taking my pill for a problem, but what they're not realizing is you can't take a pill forever. Like, that's putting a Band-Aid on it. Yes, turmeric can heal the root cause of inflammation, certainly, but I can only heal you so far if your daily practice is horrible sleep, eating chimichangas, having 4 beers, eating the existing diet and lifestyle that's horrible for you. Like, you're going to always meet in the middle. Like, you're going to cancel out the benefit. And so that's when I really sat down and was like, okay, if I could teach people Ayurveda, what would I teach them? And how would I teach it to them? Because Ayurveda is vast. It is such a huge system of medicine and health and healing from India that it could take me my lifetime to study it. Like, I've studied it in a master's, but I could probably do my master's 10 more times. And I would still learn new stuff the entire time. So I am good. One talent I have is I can take large bodies of data and work and distill out of it the knowledge that we need that we can use. And I can give it to you in a format where you're willing to do it. And so that's what I sat down and did in 2020 and 2021. I built a program called Fusionary Method. And when I do one-on-one consultations with people, I really try to assess with them what's wrong and then just give them the solution, the lifestyle shifts from Ayurveda that can help them. If they want to go deeper, they can take my 6-week immersion program. And honestly, I teach so much of this online too. If you follow me on YouTube, you can probably get half of what I teach anyway that way. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. A lot of people like that group program or that online program where they personally get to immerse over a time period and create the shifts. What I find is when it comes to our health, a lot of times we need a reason that's really big for us to be willing to create the shifts in our health. And so it's really about finding that leverage point. And that's what I'm usually doing in any one-on-one consultation. My mind and my being and my whole system's trying to understand, like, what is the root cause? How are we going to address it? But what's the leverage point I can find within you that's going to create enough leverage for you to choose to make the shift? Because any shift we make in our health is usually not going to be a fun one. Like, we all know how to live. We know how to sleep. We know how to eat. All those things we know, we were taught by our parents. And that's part of the problem. We were taught by our culture, our society, and our parents and the people around us how to do these things. And that might not have been built for optimal health or vibrant health. It might have just been what we were taught. And we all have different family cultures and different family backgrounds. We have different family experiences based on how our parents were raised. And so these are all traditions handed down, kind of like our family history, kind of like our genes. And some of us need to look at that and say, wow, well, that just doesn't work. Like, that's got a horrible end game. I'm going to have to make a different trajectory, a different path. And when you have to turn that ship a couple degrees, it's usually not easy because you're going to be working against the tide. You're going to be working against your upbringing. So it's something very powerful to think about. When I've done talks on sleep, sometimes people have horrible sleep issues. And I can say to them, what was life like around bedtime in your home when you were a child? And that person will break down in tears. And I already know, for you to have such a traumatic issue around sleep, there was trauma around sleep growing up. We all have different issues like that. We all have different things we turn to for comfort. Many of us, it's food or drinks. So it's really about looking at what are your habits. And then if your typical habit when it comes to health is to say, oh, it's too hard, I can't do that. Or, this is just not something I've ever won at, so I'm not going to try. Everyone has different mindsets around health. And so my invitation to you is to really look at what are the reasons that are so big that you're going to be willing to create a shift. For me, sometimes it's as vain as my hair or skin. That's just the truth. I'm a woman. Sometimes it's vanity. Sometimes it's, you know what? I want to be so strong that I don't catch every single cold and flu going by. I want to build an immune system of steel. That's a good motivator for me. Sometimes it's, you know what? I hurt my shoulder for the 18th time this year. I just want to be strong enough that I can lift my groceries, lift my Costco stuff, lift whatever I have to in life and not hurt myself constantly. That can be a big motivator. Sometimes it's, you know what? I just hung out with my mom for a week on a trip and that's not how I want my end game to look, where I can't even walk a block. All right, I'm willing to work for that. So you have to kind of figure out what is your leverage point with yourself and how can you put it at the forefront so that no matter what's going on around you, birthday parties and celebrations and whatever, you won't deviate from your path. You won't deviate from this road that you're choosing to be on because your reason is so big. Me personally, I grew up without an immune system is how I say it. I had to build my immune system from scratch. And so because I know the work it takes to win at gut health, win at having a strong immune system and a strong body and fighting inflammation and preventing diabetes and disease, I won't usually obliterate what I've created because it takes a lot to calibrate to holding that as pristine and strong and vibrant as I want. Sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll go on vacation and it'll be a week of like Chardonnay and fun and nachos and all the fun foods. But I've learned that 1 week of a vacation of going on a total bender has a 1 month recovery and recalibration attached to it. So I can't even take those kinds of benders anymore, those kinds of like total, what would you call it? Releasing of all my rules around my health. I can't take that kind of a deviation. It doesn't work for my system. So I really invite you to kind of pay attention. Pay attention to your body and what throws you off and what keeps you on the track. And again, what leverage point will hold you. So diving into the vibrant health pillars of Ayurveda, my goal with Ayurveda is to show people that we can live aligned and balanced in our body, mind, and spirit. That's the whole system of Ayurveda. We can learn what our individual mind-body constitution is. We each have a dosha. Our dosha is our constitution. And so on my website, shivanigupta.com, you can take a dosha quiz and it'll tell you you're a pitta, a vata, or a kapha. And once you know that, you can actually design your life around your dosha and life gets way easier because you know how to stay in balance. And it's an insight that I've shown hundreds and if not thousands of women now. And that one key from Ayurveda can change everything. It can be such a powerful game changer. Number 2, I teach the concept of digestive fire. Imagine in your gut, in your stomach, you have a fire. And that digestive fire dictates how fast you're going to process your food, if you're going to digest your food, or if you're going to store all the junk and gunk from it in different places on your body. It decides if you're going to metabolize that food and absorb all the best nutrients out of it. We have a concept in Ayurveda called ojas. Ojas is like nectar of the gods. It's like the byproduct of eating beautifully and living beautifully. It is that strength and vitality that we all want. So as we age and we're like, I'm just tired all the time and I don't feel good all the time and this is just how it is, I just consider that a lack of ojas. We aren't eating a vibrant diet. We aren't living a vibrant life. So we haven't built the vitality that we want. But if we have a strong digestive fire and we're paying attention to it, we're stoking it in the morning. One way to stoke it is have hot lemon water in the morning first thing, or aloe vera juice. I take a shot of aloe vera juice. That's going to wake up that digestive fire. You can also use a metal tongue scraper, like a copper tongue scraper, first thing in the morning. That also is going to massage all the organs of the body and ignite the digestive fire for the day. So I have certain practices I do first thing in the morning, and they take like 10 seconds. They don't take that long. Start your day. Then we talk about the timing of our food. We're not meant to eat and munch and nibble on food all day long. That's like taking a campfire. If you imagine a campfire, you're going to light up that fire, you're going to use it, then you're going to kind of close down that fire, let it relax and rest and whatever the campfire terms are. I'm not a camper. I've never been camping. But if you take that campfire and kind of close it down for the time period you don't need it, then you open it back up and use it. But what you can't do is pour cold water on it and expect it to work for dinner, right? And so the digestive fire is actually a pretty large concept in Ayurveda because it's meant to be honored, tended to, ignited, managed. there's a lot of aspects to it. But if you just eat 3 meals a day, you don't nibble all day, that's a big healthy habit for the fire. Another way to support your fire is don't drink cold water or any water 30 minutes before or after a meal. It's a hard one because we're taught so much about hydration. Add salts to your water now to absorb it into your cells, electrolytes in your water. We're taught so much about the importance of hydration. And what I find is I'm so busy. When I eat, I think about my supplements and my water. And then I'm like, oh, but I can't have water right now. So just avoiding water before your meal will let your digestive fire, and also now we know it to be digestive enzymes according to modern science, it'll allow all those things to be ignited and strong so that it can process our food better, help us digest what we're going to eat, eliminate what does not serve, absorb all the good, and support us. So a lot of times we talk about, what do I eat? What's the best diet? In Ayurveda, it's more about how you eat than what you eat. Because if you had a really strong gut and digestive fire, you could process most of what you're going to consume. Is it important to eat a good diet? Yes. The third pillar is the Ayurvedic diet, which is the sattvic diet. That could be its own entire podcast episode, so I'll do that one in the future. But the diet is eating fresh, eating organic, eating healthy, eating foods that serve you, avoiding the ones that don't. Don't nuke your food in the microwave and kill it and kill all the best properties of it. Buy a toaster. I have a toaster in my office, in my home, everywhere. I bake the foods. Just a lot of rules around how to eat. But once you make them part of your lifestyle, they're not that hard. We store all of our food in glass in the fridge, in Pyrex. We don't microwave it in my home. These are things we just got used to, so we don't think about it so much. But the sattvic diet is really an honoring of what nutrition does this body need, this vehicle that we've been given, so that we can keep the longevity and health that we want, and we can prevent disease. And I know that we all know that that's important, but it's more about what's your 80-20 with it? Like, how do you do this in a way that works for you, that's convenient? I don't have 100 hours to sit there and tinker with this. I don't have time to cook fresh meals every day, but I do have the ability to create a plan that we execute really well in our home, and then we get to live this lifestyle. Then next, Ayurvedic self-care. So Ayurveda has a series of self-care rituals. It's called Dinacharya. And Dinacharya is the daily self-care rituals that we can do to stay detox, to stay healthy, to stay vibrant, to keep our skin supple and young, to keep our hair thick and luscious, to keep our skin vibrant, to keep our body vibrant, to keep our joints vibrant, all the different things. Self-care is its own whole episode, but I'll give you one or two. Using a metal tongue scraper. You just tie this habit to brushing your teeth. So it's very easy. Brush your teeth in the morning. Use your copper tongue scraper on your tongue 7 to 14 times. Be gentle. Please don't cut up your tongue. And this is going to gently detox all the organs of the body, because just like in reflexology, your organs are reflected on the bottom of your feet. In the same way, all your organs are reflected on the tongue. And so it's really a powerful self-care tool. Of all the tools, it's kind of my favorite. Then we have dry brushing. We have Abhyang self-massage. We have a lot of them in there. One of my favorites is also tea time is me time. So I pause every day, a few times a day, to have tea and really just tune into myself and my intuition. And what do I need right now? Do I need hydration? Do I need my supplements? Have I taken my turmeric? Have I planned my day so I get to eat today? Or did I make it so I'm not even going to eat dinner, which happens a lot the way I schedule out my day. And so I really build in the right breaks and mentally plan so I get food, so I get hydration, so I get those breaks that I need. Then the last one is nature, getting into a flow state. So the whole point of this concept that I teach, Vibrant Health, is this idea that we can be aligned. We can have much higher states of joy when our body, mind, and spirit are all aligned, when our mental health and emotional health and physical health is all awesome. We have access to levels of joy and happiness that are completely different than what you normally would have experienced. I think one way to think of this is when you go on vacation and you're like, oh my God, life is so beautiful. Look at the flowers, look at the trees, nature, earth is so amazing. Or if you go on a retreat and you get that like clarity and that total connection to self. So to me, vibrant health is that vibration that we get to carry. And we know that our vibration is part of how we manifest everything in our lives. We also know that to be in a flow state is our most creative state. It's our way of creating the things that we want to create in the world. For me, I created Fusionary. I created an entire supplement company that heals people. And that to me is a huge honor. Then I want to write books that change the world. I want to teach to people this concept. I want to do speaking. Like, to me, to have the energy and the creativity and the access to all the messages that are there for me to teach the world, I need to keep myself in the right vibration. And I do that by staying my absolute healthiest. And so that sixth pillar that I like to teach from Ayurveda is the power of nature, the power of staying grounded, the power of go to the park every day, get outside in nature and move your body. If you can't meditate, I totally get it. Do a walking meditation. Just walk and process through your own thoughts. Go out in nature and do your deep breathing. We talk about meditation, yoga, and pranayama. Those are sister sciences to Ayurveda. But you could also just go walk in nature and breathe deep and ponder and contemplate. And anything that's bothering you, release it to Mother Earth. And anything you want to call in, call it in. So there's such power to harnessing the power of nature to create the flow state that we want, to create the mindset that we want, to create the vibrant health that we want. In 2020, when the pandemic started, I literally was like, I am so screwed. I have no immune system. I will go down with this thing. This is going to be horrible. And then I was like, well, actually, if anyone knows how to build an immune system, it's me. If anyone created an awesome turmeric that'll defend me, it's me. And if anyone knows how to heal with Ayurveda, it's me. So I'm just going to practice what I preach. And the rule I made in 2020 was we will walk in nature every day, no matter what. One rule, above all, above even clean eating, was we will walk in nature. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, I believe it's how I saved us. I believe it's how we were able to stay healthy, despite the fact that my entire family was like, I won't even tell you. I have a lot of people around me who were pretty reckless, I think, in the pandemic and not so worried about it. And I was on my guard, but I also just got us out in nature and we got to walk every day and bike and move and find different parks and go to the beach. And that ability to connect with nature and allow nature to heal us is a huge tenet of Ayurveda, and it's a huge piece of our ability to heal ourselves. Instead of sitting on the couch, sitting in front of the TV, sitting on our iPhones, sitting inside in our recirculated air with our house full of cleaning products that we've used. What if instead we were in nature and we let the sun and the circadian rhythm and the circadian clock reset us constantly and align us so that we're working with nature to build the vibrant health we want? So those are the 6 pillars of vibrant health that I like to teach from Ayurveda. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Check out our sponsor, my company, Fusionary Formulas, the potent turmeric supplements that physicians are using all across the U.S. to help their patients with inflammation. The website is fusionaryformulas.com. To take the Dosha quiz and to get my sleep guide, my inflammation guide, I have a lot of fun stuff. You can visit shivanigupta.com. It's Shivani. Gupta is Gupta. And subscribe to this podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you subscribe to your podcast. Feel free to leave a comment. Let us know what you want to learn more about. If there's aspects of Ayurveda you want to dive deep into, you have the power to transform your health and build vibrant health every single day. And I encourage you to do so and build that vibrant health for yourself starting today. Thank you so much.